in the heart of North America, where jagged peaks scrape the sky and silent forests stretch for miles, lies a land as breathtaking as it is terrifying. The Rocky Mountains have always been a place of beauty, but beauty can hide shadows. Long before ski resorts and hiking trails, these mountains were the site of bloody battles, mining tragedies, forgotten ghost towns, and stories that refuse to stay buried. Some say the thin mountain air plays tricks on the mind. Others whisper that these peaks hold an ancient energy, drawing spirits like moths to a flame. Tonight, we'll take you deep into the wild heart of the Rockies, where history lingers in the wind and something unseen watches from the dark tree line. So, lace up your boots and keep your flashlight close. We're about to explore the 20 most haunted places in the Rocky Mountains. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, stands like a grand white sentinel against the backdrop of the Rocky Mountains. Its colonial revival, facade, gleaming in the mountain sunlight. Built in 1909 by inventor and businessman Freelon Oscar Stanley, it was intended as a luxurious retreat for the wealthy. A place where the crisp alpine air could invigorate the body and the refined surroundings could soothe the soul. At its peak, it hosted society's elite, drawing travelers eager to escape the sweltering heat of the cities for a summer in the cool mountain climate. Yet, for all its elegance, the Stanley has gained a far darker reputation over the years. It is now known not just for its grandeur, but for the spirits said to wander its hallways, lingering long after the living guests have checked out. The most famous of these spectral residents is Flora Stanley herself. Flora was deeply devoted to her husband and to the hotel they built together. Guests and staff alike claim that she has not truly left her beloved creation. The Grand Ballroom is her favorite haunt, where the polished wood floors still seem to remember the swirl of gowns and the sound of music. Late at night, when the chandeliers are dim and the room is empty, faint notes of a piano can drift through the air, delicate and haunting. Those who investigate often find the grand piano's lid raised, the keys warm to the touch, though no one living has been near it. Some have even reported seeing Flora seated at the bench, her figure translucent but poised, her hands gliding over the keys in a silent waltz before she fades away entirely. The hotel's long, carpeted hallways have their own share of phantom activity. Visitors tell of hearing children giggling just around the corner, the sound echoing faintly through the still air. Yet when they turn the corner, the hall is empty, the laughter dissolving into silence. In some cases, guests swear they've felt small hands tug at their clothing, as if an unseen child were trying to play. There are no records of children dying tragically on the premises, but the echoes of past guests seem to have imprinted themselves here, their joy and mischief stubbornly clinging to the living world. Of all the rooms in the Stanley Hotel, none is more infamous than room 217. Its reputation began long before Stephen King stayed there in 1974, a night that would inspire him to write The Shining. In 1911, a chambermaid named Elizabeth Wilson was sent to enter the room during a storm. A gas leak filled the space, and when she struck a match to light the lamps, an explosion tore through the room, blowing her down to the floor below. Remarkably, she survived, but some believe her spirit now lingers there. Guests who stay in room 217 report strange and unsettling phenomena. Lights flicker without cause. Luggage is unpacked neatly by unseen hands, and objects are moved around the room. Several have awakened in the dead of night to see a woman standing silently at the foot of their bed, her expression unreadable, her gaze fixed. She does not speak, only lingers until the startled occupant blinks, and she vanishes. There is something about the air in the Stanley that is unlike anywhere else. Perhaps it is the altitude, over 7,500 feet above sea level, that makes your lungs work harder for every breath. But many say that's not the only reason it feels difficult to breathe here. It's the way the shadows seem to stretch unnaturally long at dusk, the way the air seems to hum faintly in empty corridors, and the persistent feeling of eyes on your back when you know you're alone. Guests describe hearing footsteps pacing outside their doors in the small hours of the night. But when they look, the hallway is deserted. Even the staff, accustomed to the hotel's reputation, have stories to tell. Housekeepers avoid being alone in certain areas for too long, citing sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of cold fingers brushing the back of their neck. Maintenance workers speak of tools disappearing from one spot and reappearing neatly lined up in another room entirely. On rare occasions, entire light fixtures have flickered in unison, as though reacting to some invisible presence passing by. Stephen King's Stay at the Stanley cemented its place in modern horror lore. He and his wife were the only guests in the vast hotel that night. As it was about to close for the season, wandering the empty halls, King reportedly had vivid dreams of his young son running through the corridors. Looking back over his shoulder with a look of pure terror, he woke with his heart pounding and the seed of a story already in his mind. The Stanley became the fictional Overlook Hotel, forever linking the real-life location to one of the most chilling novels of the 20th century. Yet, the truth is that the Stanley's ghosts need no fiction to enhance their reputation. Paranormal investigators have captured unexplained voices, cold spots, and mysterious orbs of light on camera. Some visitors leave believing they've experienced nothing unusual at all, only to find strange images in their photographs later. A blurred face in the corner of a frame, a shadow standing in a doorway. Others leave certain that they've been touched by something they cannot explain. Whether it was a fleeting hand on the arm or a cold breath against their ear in an otherwise empty room. Today, the Stanley embraces its haunted history. Ghost tours lead guests through its grand halls, telling the stories of those who may still linger within its walls. Visitors come seeking the thrill of the unknown, standing in the same spaces where countless others have felt that unmistakable chill, that prickling awareness that they are not alone. And whether you believe in spirits or not, one truth remains. When night falls over the Stanley Hotel, the line between history and haunting becomes thin as mountain mist, and the silence of the Rockies feels heavy with secrets that may never be fully told. St. Elmo sits high in the Sawatch Range of the Colorado Rockies, where the air is thin and the mountains close in like silent sentinels. In the late 1800s, this small settlement was a booming mining town, drawing prospectors from across the country in search of gold and silver. Wooden storefronts lined the dusty main street. Saloons rang with laughter and the clink of glasses, and the steady rhythm of pickaxes echoed from the surrounding hills. For a time, it seemed like St. Elmo would thrive forever. But gold has a way of running out, and when it did, so did the people. By the early 20th century, the mines were played out, the railroad stopped running, and the once lively town was left to decay in the mountain wind. Yet St. Elmo is not entirely abandoned. The buildings remain, their wooden walls weathered but still standing. And locals whisper that some of the residents never truly left. These are not the living, but the shades of the past, restless spirits bound to the town they once called home. Of all the stories, none is more infamous than that of Annabelle Stark. Annabelle was the daughter of Tony and Anna Stark, who owned the town's general store. The Starks were among the last to leave when St. Elmo collapsed, and even as the streets emptied and dust covered the shelves, they stubbornly remained. Annabelle grew up here, surrounded by the creak of old wood, the smell of flour and leather goods, and the endless mountain silence. Over the years, she gained a reputation for being reclusive and fiercely protective of what remained of the town. When she died in the mid-20th century, her presence, it seems, did not fade. Visitors to St. Elmo often speak of seeing a woman in an old-fashioned dress walking slowly along Main Street. She does not smile or wave. Instead, she watches with an unwavering, almost hostile stare, as though silently judging intruders. Some say she has been spotted peering from the windows of the general store, her pale face barely visible through the dusty glass. A few have even claimed that when they tried to photograph her, the image came out blurred, distorted by some unseen force. The weather in the Rockies can be unpredictable, but St. Elmo is notorious for sudden, inexplicable cold spots. On a bright summer day, when the sun bakes the dirt road and the air shimmers with heat, A visitor might turn a corner and feel an icy chill wrap around them. It's the kind of cold that sinks into the skin, raising goosebumps and quickening the pulse. People who experience it say the sensation is always accompanied by a faint smell, sometimes of wood smoke, sometimes of old perfume. The town's buildings creak and groan in the wind, but some noises cannot be blamed on weathered timbers. Doors slam shut with violent force, even when there is no wind to move them. Those who step inside the long-abandoned homes report hearing footsteps upstairs or on the porch outside, though no one is there. On quiet days, a peculiar sound can drift from the old hotel, the faint, ghostly notes of a piano. The instrument has been silent for decades, its strings long rusted, yet more than one person has claimed to hear soft music floating through the air. The tune is always the same, slow, melancholy, and unfinished, fading away before it reaches the final notes. Some believe this music is connected to the hotel's long-forgotten past, when traveling performers would pass through, bringing life to the isolated mountain town. Others think it might be Annabelle herself, still guarding St. Elmo, but occasionally indulging in a moment of human memory. Whatever the case, those who hear it say the sound lingers in their minds long after they leave, like a dream that refuses to let go. There are other stories as well. Hikers passing near the town at dusk have reported seeing figures standing in doorways or on balconies, watching silently before melting into the shadows. Photographs taken by tourists sometimes reveal strange anomalies. Mists curling in unnatural shapes, orbs of light hovering in midair, or faces half hidden behind curtains. Paranormal investigators who have visited the site claim their equipment often malfunctions in certain spots, batteries draining in minutes, or recorders picking up unexplained voices. Despite its reputation, St. Elmo draws thousands of visitors each year. Some come for the history, fascinated by the well-preserved buildings and the glimpse into a vanished era of frontier life. Others come for the ghosts, hoping to see Annabelle Stark for themselves, or to capture evidence of the supernatural. The town has no hotels or restaurants now, just the remnants of a past life, but its silence is part of the allure. Walking through St. Elmo today is like stepping into another time. The general store still stands, its shelves holding relics of a bygone age. The saloon doors hang slightly crooked, swaying gently in the mountain breeze. The old schoolhouse sits on a small rise, its bell long gone, but its windows still staring out at the street below. It is easy to imagine the sound of wagon wheels on the dirt road, the laughter of miners after a day's work, and the quiet rustle of skirts as townsfolk passed by. It is just as easy to imagine those same skirts brushing the ground in the present day, belonging to someone who hasn't been alive for decades. St. Elmo may be a ghost town, but in more ways than one. The mountains keep their secrets well, and here, time seems to have folded in on itself. The past and the present exist side by side, separated by the thinnest of veils. Whether you come seeking history or hoping to glimpse a shadow of the dead, you will find the same thing, a place where the air feels heavy with memory, where every creak of a floorboard might be a greeting, and where the eyes of the past may still be watching from behind dusty glass. The Fairplay Hotel stands proudly in the heart of Fairplay, Colorado. Its alpine-style architecture, a nod to the mountain charm that draws travelers to this high-altitude town. Built in 1922, the hotel quickly became the social hub of the community, offering comfortable accommodations, hearty meals, and a place for locals and visitors to mingle. Nestled in the South Park Basin at an elevation of nearly 10,000 feet, it offered warmth and welcome against the often harsh climate of the Rockies. But beneath its cozy exterior, the Fairplay Hotel harbors a history marked by tragedy, and over the decades, whispers have grown about guests who never truly checked out. The stories begin, innocently enough, a strange sound in the night, a door closing when no one is nearby. But the longer you stay, the more you begin to notice. Perhaps it's the way certain rooms feel colder than the rest, even when the heat is running. Or maybe it's the soft creak of footsteps in the hallway above you, despite knowing the floor above is empty. These oddities have accumulated into a reputation that the Fairplay Hotel is not just a charming inn, but one of the most haunted lodgings in the Rockies. The most frequently reported apparition is that of a tall man dressed in a black suit. Witnesses describe him as gaunt, with a somber expression, his eyes cast downward as if deep in thought. He is most often seen pacing the upper hallway, moving back and forth with an almost restless energy. Those who have encountered him say that he never acknowledges them, never turns his head, and then, without warning, he simply walks straight into the wall and disappears. Some speculate he may have been a former guest or even an employee, perhaps someone whose life ended abruptly within these walls. The hotel has seen its share of unfortunate incidents. Records tell of at least a few guests who died here, some from illness, others under less clear circumstances. In a small, isolated mountain town in the early 20th century, death was not uncommon, and the hotel was sometimes the final stop for weary travelers who never made it back down the mountain. Whether the tall man in the black suit is connected to any of these deaths remains a mystery, but his presence is well known to staff and longtime guests alike. Then there is the phenomenon of the shaking beds. Many guests have reported waking in the middle of the night to find their mattress trembling beneath them, as though someone were pushing or pulling at it from below. At first, they often assume it must be due to an old bed frame or an overactive imagination, but the shaking grows more insistent, enough to jolt them fully awake. When they turn on the light, the movement stops instantly. No vibrations from outside sources, no creaking from other rooms. Just an unsettling silence that makes it impossible to drift back to sleep. Another persistent mystery is the smell of cigar smoke. It is described as strong, pungent, and unmistakable, often accompanied by the faint sound of a man clearing his throat. The odor appears suddenly, sometimes in the lobby, sometimes in guest rooms, and occasionally even in the stairwell. The strangest part is that the Fairplay Hotel has long been a non-smoking establishment, and on many occasions, the scent has been noted in the dead of night, when no one is awake to produce it. Some believe the cigar smoker might be the same tall man in black, a detail from his life that still clings to his spirit. Others think it could be a different guest entirely, one who enjoyed his smoke so much that the habit followed him into the afterlife. Staff members have grown accustomed to the strange occurrences, though few are entirely comfortable with them. Housekeepers report finding rooms in disarray moments after they were tidied, with pillows tossed to the floor and blankets pulled halfway off the bed. One front desk clerk recalls locking up for the night and walking through the dining room to find a single chair pulled away from a table, facing the window, as if someone had been sitting there watching the street. She was alone in the building at the time. The atmosphere of the Fairplay Hotel seems to shift depending on the season. In winter, when snow piles high against the windows and the wind howls down the streets, the building feels like a sealed world of its own. Guests huddled by the fire, perhaps catching a glimpse of movement in the dimly lit hallway beyond. In summer, the warm days and cool mountain nights bring travelers passing through, but even in the brighter months, some say the shadows in certain corners seem too deep, too persistent. Paranormal investigators who have visited the hotel have documented cold spots, unexplained EMF readings, and faint EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, that sound like muffled conversations or the distant scrape of a chair on wood flooring. In one instance, an investigator swore she heard the distinct click of a lighter and the soft exhale of smoke directly behind her, though she was alone in the room. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Fairplay Hotel continues to welcome guests from all over. Some come specifically hoping for a brush with the supernatural, while others are caught off guard by the strangeness they encounter. A night here might pass without incident, filled only with the creak of old floorboards and the sigh of the wind outside. Or it might be interrupted by the sensation of your bed shivering beneath you, the sudden waft of cigar smoke curling through the air, and the sight of a tall, shadowy man vanishing into the wall at the end of the hall. The Fairplay Hotel stands as both a relic of a bygone era and a reminder that not all who visit these mountains leave them. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's hard to deny the feeling that the walls here have absorbed more than just the warmth of the fireplace. They've held on to stories, memories, and perhaps even the people themselves. In this quiet mountain town, the past lingers, and at the Fair Play Hotel, it sometimes walks right past you in the hallway. Virginia City, Montana, wears its history openly, weathered wooden buildings, faded signs, and streets that seem frozen in time. Founded in 1863 after the discovery of gold in Alder Gulch, the town erupted almost overnight into a wild hub of fortune seekers, saloons, and lawless ambition. It was a place where greed was the currency, and life could be bought or lost in the space of a heartbeat. The gold rush made Virginia City rich, but it also made it deadly. Murders were frequent, and justice was often swift or non-existent. Vigilante groups rose to challenge ruthless gangs like the infamous road agents, and the blood of both the guilty and the innocent stained the dusty streets. It is this turbulent, violent past that locals believe has left an indelible spiritual mark on the town. The ghosts of Virginia City are not quiet. The first sign of something unusual often comes in the evenings, when the streets are quiet except for the occasional creak of wood in the cool mountain air. Many report hearing footsteps on the old wooden sidewalks, the steady, deliberate rhythm echoing through empty streets. The sound often approaches, then stops suddenly, as if the unseen walker is watching, waiting. Sometimes, the sound resumes again, but in the opposite direction, vanishing into silence as quickly as it began. Then there are the glowing orbs, strange, hovering lights that drift through the night. Tour guides say they have watched them float across the street, pass straight through the closed windows of old saloons, and vanish within. The orbs are not the warm, flickering glow of a lamp, but cold and unnatural, shifting in brightness and color. Skeptics have tried to dismiss them as reflections or insects, but the way they move intelligently, with purpose, makes those explanations feel hollow. Whispers are another common phenomenon. Guests on ghost tours often pause mid-step when they hear them. Faint, urgent voices speaking just out of earshot. Sometimes they are a low murmur, other times sharp and clipped, as if in the middle of an argument. There is never anyone there. In the crisp, thin air of the Montana mountains, the sound carries in strange ways, but guides swear these whispers appear in places where no other living soul could be. Of all the buildings in Virginia City, the old Opera House is considered the most haunted, built to bring a touch of culture and entertainment to the rough mining town. It was a place where miners and their families could forget, for a few hours, the dangers and drudgery of their lives. But it has seen its share of tragedy. Stagehands died in accidents behind the curtains. Performers collapsed mid-performance and never rose again. And in the decades since, the Opera House has never been empty for long. Those who work there speak of props shifting on their own, costumes swaying as if someone just brushed past them, and a strange coldness that pulls near the stage. The most unsettling reports come from the balcony seats, where a shadow figure is often seen standing motionless, watching the stage. It is tall, its features indistinguishable, its form somehow darker than the surrounding shadows. When the lights are turned on, it vanishes without a sound. More than one actor has refused to perform after locking eyes with it, or at least feeling as though they had. Even outside the Opera House, the paranormal activity is strong. The boardwalks near the old Mercantile are known for sudden bursts of cigar smoke, strong enough to make passers-by cough, though there is no smoker in sight. Doors in abandoned buildings creak open slowly, even on windless nights. Windows that were firmly shut in the afternoon will be standing wide open by morning. Longtime residents have learned to live alongside these spirits. Some say they are the town's true protectors, watching over the streets they once called home. Others believe they are restless, trapped by the unfinished business of their violent deaths, unable to cross over. Whether vengeful, lost, or simply curious, they are part of the fabric of Virginia City now. On nights when the moon hangs low over the surrounding mountains and the air feels heavy with the scent of pine and history, you can almost see the past bleeding into the present. You might catch the swish of a long skirt disappearing into an alley, or hear the clink of a spurred boot on the wooden boards behind you. And if you step into the opera house, you may find yourself standing in the gaze of something that has been waiting there for more than a century, silent but impossibly aware. In Virginia City, the gold is long gone, but the spirits remain. And if you listen closely, they still tell the stories, in footsteps, in whispers, and in the cold breath of history that lingers on every street. The Occidental Hotel in Buffalo, Wyoming, stands as one of the most storied landmarks of the Old West. Built in 1880, it was a magnet for cowboys, ranchers, railroad workers, and some of the most infamous names of frontier legends. Butch Cassidy, Calamity Jane, and Buffalo Bill Cody all passed through its grand wooden doors, leaving their mark on the history of the place. The long, polished bar in the saloon still gleams under warm lamplight, and the hotel's ornate lobby seems preserved in time, as if waiting for another trainload of dusty travelers to wander in from the plains. Yet behind its historic charm lingers something colder, more unsettling, the sense that some of its guests never left. The Occidental's most well-known ghost story centers around Room 23. In the early 1900s, a young girl, some say she was the daughter of a traveling family. Others claim she was an orphan who worked for the hotel, tragically died there. The cause of her death has been lost to time, though whispers range from sudden illness to a fatal accident. Her presence is said to linger, playful yet eerie. Late at night, when the hallways are empty and the wind howls outside, guests have reported hearing the soft, melodic sound of a child's laughter drifting from behind the closed door of Room 23. Sometimes, the sound is accompanied by faint footsteps running across the wooden floorboards, even when the room is locked and unoccupied. Staff have grown used to the peculiar disturbances. Housekeepers talk about entering the room to find the bed neatly made, only to return moments later and find the covers rumpled as though someone had been sitting there. Small objects, such as pins or hairbrushes, have been known to vanish and then reappear in strange places. More than one guest has reported waking in the night to feel the mattress shift slightly, as if a small weight had climbed onto the bed. Some describe the sensation of a tiny hand brushing their arm before vanishing entirely. But the girl of Room 23 is not the only spirit said to walk the Occidental's halls. There is also the mysterious woman in white, a figure seen gliding silently through the lobby. She is described as tall, with dark hair and a long flowing dress of pure white, as though she stepped out of another century. Witnesses say she moves gracefully, her expression serene but distant, never acknowledging those who see her. She is most often spotted near the grand staircase, where she is said to pause briefly before fading into thin air. No one knows her identity for certain, though speculation abounds. Some believe she was the wife of a wealthy cattle baron who met a tragic end. Others think she might be a performer who once sang in the hotel's music hall and died before her final show. In the saloon, where the echoes of old cowboy songs still seem to hum in the air, there are stranger happenings still. Bartenders have watched glasses slide across the polished counter as if pushed by invisible hands. Patrons have glimpsed fleeting figures in cowboy hats reflected in the antique mirror behind the bar, only to turn around and find the room empty. The smell of cigar smoke often drifts through the air long after smoking has been banned inside. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Occidental have recorded odd temperature drops, disembodied voices, and even faint music that seems to come from nowhere. One team captured a woman's voice, whispering, "Wait for me," on a digital recorder when no women were present in the room at the time. Others have reported seeing pale orbs of light hovering in the hallways before darting out of sight. What makes the Occidental's hauntings so compelling is the way they blend seamlessly with the building's history. The hotel has been a witness to gunfights, poker games that ended in bloodshed, and countless untold dramas of the frontier. It has survived fires, economic hardship, and the slow fading of the Old West. And through it all, it has kept its stories close. Some of those stories, it seems, are still being told by voices from the past. Guests who stay overnight often come seeking a taste of history, but they sometimes leave with a brush of the supernatural. One couple, visiting from out of state, woke to the sound of a little girl giggling right beside their bed. The man jumped up, turned on the light, and found no one there. But the heavy wooden rocking chair in the corner was swaying gently, as if recently occupied. Another guest reported seeing the woman in white standing at the top of the staircase, watching her silently before drifting away. The Occidental Hotel remains in operation today, its warm lights and old-world charm drawing travelers from all over the world. For some, it is a place to enjoy live music, a cold drink, and a night surrounded by history. For others, it is a brush with something far stranger, the lingering spirits of a bygone era, who seem in no hurry to check out. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing is certain. At the Occidental Hotel, the past is never truly past, and the dead never seem too far away. Bannack, Montana, sits frozen in time, its weathered wooden buildings standing under a vast sky, surrounded by the rugged beauty of the Beaverhead Mountains. Once a booming gold rush town, in the 1860s, Bannack was a place of promise, greed, and swift justice. But when the gold ran dry, the population dwindled, and the town was left to the wind, the dust, and if the stories are to be believed, the restless spirits of those who never left. The gallows still stand here, a stark and unflinching reminder of the hangings that occurred when vigilante justice ruled the streets. Bannack was once notorious for lawlessness, with murders, robberies, and drunken brawls a daily occurrence. The local sheriff, Henry Plummer, is a figure still whispered about, accused of secretly leading a murderous gang known as the Innocents. Plummer was hanged alongside two of his deputies in 1864, without a trial. Whether guilty or innocent, many believe his presence lingers, his spirit pacing near the gallows, searching for redemption or revenge. Visitors have reported the sound of boots scraping on the wooden platform, the creak of the rope, and even the low murmur of voices arguing in the cold night air. The old schoolhouse, a simple wooden building with faded paint, has its own unsettling reputation. By day, it is eerily still, its dusty desks lined in neat rows, the blackboard coated with the faint marks of long-erased lessons. But after dark, things change. Park rangers and visitors alike have reported entering the schoolhouse to find fresh writing on the chalkboard, simple sums, half-finished words, or strange symbols. No one sees the chalk move, but more than one witness has described the faint scrape of it against the slate, as if a small hand is hurriedly working on a forgotten assignment. Some claim they've heard the sound of children whispering, their giggles echoing faintly in the empty room, while others have seen a fleeting shadow at the back of the class, a shadow the size of a child that vanishes when approached. Perhaps the most infamous structure in Bannack is the Meade Hotel, built in 1875 as the Beaverhead County Courthouse and later converted into a grand hotel. It was once the pride of the town. Today, it sits abandoned, its once elegant interior coated in dust, its wallpaper peeling in faded strips. Yet the building feels alive in a way that makes visitors shiver. The moment you step inside, the air changes, becoming colder, heavier, as if something unseen is watching. Many report sudden drops in temperature, with pockets of icy air that move unpredictably through the halls. Some have felt these cold patches brush past them like a person hurrying by, though no one is there. The second floor of the Meade Hotel is particularly notorious. Footsteps can be heard pacing along the hallway when the building is empty. The sound of heavy boots and lighter, quicker steps, as though two people are walking together. Doors creak open and close without a draft to move them. In one upstairs room, several visitors have described waking from a fainting spell or a sudden overwhelming dizziness, as though the walls themselves were closing in. One ranger tells of finding fresh impressions on the dusty bed in that same room, as if someone had just been sitting there. The hotel staircase has its own legend. More than one guest has claimed to see a woman in a long white dress drifting gracefully down the steps, her head tilted slightly as if searching for someone. She never makes it to the bottom. Before reaching the last few steps, she fades away completely, leaving only the faint scent of lavender in the air. Some believe she was a bride-to-be who died before her wedding day. Others say she was a traveler who fell victim to a violent crime during Banac's lawless years. Whatever her story, her apparition is one of the most frequently reported in the town. Even in daylight, Bannack carries an unsettling weight. The wind rattles loose shutters, and the wooden sidewalks groan underfoot. The abandoned homes still hold personal items, rusted pots, tattered curtains, and broken furniture, like echoes of the lives once lived here. The sense of being watched is almost constant, as though unseen eyes follow you from window to window. Night in Bannack is something else entirely. When the sun dips behind the mountains and the shadows stretch across the dirt streets, the silence becomes oppressive. The sky fills with stars, but the darkness between the buildings feels alive. Voices are heard where no one is standing, soft murmurs, sudden laughter, or the faint call of a name. The sound of phantom horses has been reported, hooves clattering along the street, accompanied by the jingle of harnesses. They pass by unseen, leaving only the dust swirling in their wake. Some skeptics dismiss these accounts as tricks of the mind, stirred by the isolation and history of the place. But even they admit, Bannack has a presence unlike anywhere else. Whether it is the lingering sorrow of untimely deaths, the injustice of vigilante hangings, or the sheer stubbornness of the spirits who refuse to leave, the ghost town remains one of Montana's most haunted places. And so the gallows remain, stark against the Montana sky, and the Mead Hotel waits silently for its next visitor. The schoolhouse still stands, chalk at the ready. In Bannack, history is not just preserved, it is alive, whispering, pacing, and sometimes even laughing in the dark. Those who come seeking gold may find nothing but dust. Those who come seeking ghosts, however, are rarely disappointed. The Hotel Colorado in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, stands as a grand monument to history, luxury, and mystery. Built in 1893, this iconic hotel earned the nickname Hotel of the Presidents after welcoming several U.S. presidents, including Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. Its stunning architecture and elegant atmosphere have attracted visitors for well over a century, but beyond its opulent facade and illustrious guests, Hotel Colorado carries a reputation for being haunted, a place where the echoes of the past come alive in chilling and inexplicable ways. The hotel's history is rich and complex, marked by its transformation during World War II, when it served as a temporary hospital. During this period, countless patients, some critically ill and others injured in battle, were cared for within its walls. The emotional intensity and trauma of that time are believed to have left deep spiritual imprints, and many believe the restless spirits of former patients still roam the halls. Visitors and staff alike have reported a variety of paranormal phenomena that make Hotel Colorado a hotspot for ghost hunters and curious guests. One of the most commonly reported occurrences involves flickering lights. These sudden bursts of electrical disturbances happen throughout the hotel, often without any mechanical explanation. Lights flash on and off or dim unexpectedly, sometimes in patterns that seem deliberate, as though the spirits are trying to communicate or make their presence known. Phantom nurses are another frequent sighting. Many guests and employees claim to have seen ghostly figures dressed in vintage nurse uniforms moving quietly through the corridors, particularly in the hallways that were once used for hospital wards. These apparitions are often described as pushing empty gurneys or silently walking past, vanishing when approached. Their presence evokes the memory of the hospital days, and for some, a lingering sense of sorrow and compassion. The basement of Hotel Colorado is infamous for its unsettling sounds. On numerous occasions, visitors have heard disembodied screams echoing from the depths below, a chilling reminder of the pain and suffering endured by patients during the hotel's time as a medical facility. These screams, often heard late at night, are said to rise and fall in intensity, as if replaying moments of anguish frozen in time. Other paranormal experiences include sudden cold spots where the temperature drops sharply for no apparent reason, unexplained footsteps in empty corridors, and objects moving on their own. Staff have reported doors opening or closing without cause, and the faint scent of antiseptic lingering in areas where no cleaning has recently occurred. One particularly well-known ghost story at Hotel Colorado involves a spirit referred to as the Lady in Blue. This ghostly figure is said to be a former patient who died in the hospital wards during World War II. Guests have reported seeing a woman dressed in a flowing blue gown wandering the hallways, often near the areas where the hospital beds once stood. Her presence is usually accompanied by a feeling of sadness, and some say she appears to be searching for something or someone. The Lady in Blue is not generally considered malevolent. Rather, she embodies the lingering pain and sorrow of the hotel's medical past. Encounters with her have left guests both frightened and moved, offering a poignant connection to the hotel's layered history. Hotel Colorado's staff have come to accept the paranormal activity as part of the building's character. Many employees share their own stories of unexplained events and instances where equipment fails. Voices are heard in empty rooms, or they sense an unseen presence watching over them. Housekeepers sometimes find rooms in disarray, despite no recent guests or visitors. And maintenance teams report unusual fluctuations in electrical systems. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to Hotel Colorado due to its reputation and historical significance. Using specialized equipment, they have recorded electromagnetic disturbances, unexplained sounds, and visual anomalies on camera. While skeptics attribute some occurrences to the building's age and complex wiring, the sheer volume of consistent eyewitness accounts suggests something beyond the ordinary. Despite the eerie experiences, Hotel Colorado remains a beloved destination for travelers seeking a mix of history, comfort, and mystery. Its haunted reputation adds an intriguing dimension to the guest experience, with many visitors hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural during their stay. The hotel embraces this aspect of its legacy, occasionally hosting ghost tours and paranormal events that allow curious guests to explore the darker corners of its past. For those who walk its halls, Hotel Colorado is more than just a place to rest. It's a living museum where the past and present intertwine. The flickering lights, phantom nurses, and chilling screams serve as reminders that history is not just a series of dates and facts, but a tapestry woven with human emotions and experiences that persists beyond death. In the end, Hotel Colorado stands as a testament to resilience and remembrance. Its ghosts are silent witnesses to the triumphs and tragedies that shaped the building and the people who pass through it. Whether viewed as spirits or memories, these restless presences continue to captivate and haunt, making Hotel Colorado one of Colorado's most fascinating. And Idaho Springs Cemetery rests quietly in the Colorado foothills, its rows of weathered headstones overlooking a valley that once bustled with the fevered energy of the gold rush. By day, it feels like a place frozen in time sunlight, dappling the uneven ground. Wind whispering through tall grass, and the occasional crow perched upon a tilting stone. But as daylight fades and the shadows deepen, a different side of the cemetery emerges, one that feels alive in a way that defies explanation. Locals say the first burials here date back to the mid-1800s, when miners, prospectors, and their families settled in Idaho Springs with dreams of striking it rich. Many who rest beneath the soil never lived to see those dreams fulfilled. Mining accidents, sickness, and the brutal winters claimed lives quickly, and the cemetery became a quiet witness to hardship, tragedy, and the sometimes violent disputes that marked the frontier. It's these stories, they say, that left a mark on the land and, perhaps on something deeper. Those who've dared to visit after nightfall often speak of an eerie transformation. The air grows heavy, as if charged with static. The moonlight casts the gravestones in sharp relief, and strange lights begin to appear as small, glowing orbs that drift silently between the markers. They float low to the ground, sometimes bobbing as though carried by unseen hands, before vanishing without a trace. Paranormal investigators who've captured these lights on camera have found no natural explanation. They don't behave like reflections or insects, and they seem to react to the presence of the living, darting away when approached. Even more unsettling is the sound that sometimes breaks the stillness. The unmistakable scrape and thud of a shovel striking earth. Witnesses have followed the noise, expecting to find someone working late or vandalizing a grave, only to discover nothing but undisturbed soil. The digging continues for a few moments more, fading into silence, as if the unseen laborer has realized they're being watched. Some speculate this is the spirit of a gravedigger from the town's early days, forever trapped in his final duty. Others believe it could be a restless soul, still trying to bury or perhaps unearth something important. But the most unnerving encounters involve the figure of a man dressed in old miner's gear. Tall, with a gaunt face, half hidden beneath the brim of a battered hat. He's seen standing motionless among the graves, often near the oldest section of the cemetery. Witnesses say he doesn't move or speak, only stares with an intensity that sends shivers down the spine. His clothes are tattered, as though they've been worn for decades, and his boots leave no tracks in the dirt. Most who see him turn away for just a moment only, to find he's vanished completely when they look back. Some believe this apparition could be the ghost of a miner who was buried here under mysterious circumstances. Local legend tells of a prospector who found a rich vein of gold but was murdered before he could stake his claim. The killer was never caught, and some say the victim still searches for justice or for the gold he was robbed of. Others think he's a guardian of the cemetery, silently watching those who enter after dark to ensure they show respect. A few brave souls have tried to speak to him. One paranormal researcher claimed the man appeared just feet away, his presence accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature, so extreme her breath came out in clouds despite the summer night. She asked if he needed help, and the figure slowly shook his head before dissolving into thin air. The camera she carried malfunctioned in that moment, the footage corrupted beyond repair. The Idaho Springs Cemetery isn't a large place, yet those who've visited at night often report losing their sense of direction, wandering in circles as if the paths rearrange themselves. It's as easy to imagine the spirits here don't appreciate strangers and will do what they can to confuse and deter them. Some visitors claim they've left offerings, flowers, coins, or even small chunks of quartz sand, returned days later to find the gifts gone, replaced by strange patterns in the dirt. By day, the cemetery retains its quiet dignity, a relic of the town's mining past. Families still visit, placing fresh flowers and keeping the memory of the dead alive. But after the sun dips below the hills, the atmosphere changes in a way that's impossible to ignore. The wind grows colder, the silence heavier, and the shadows seem to watch from every corner. Whether it's the restless spirits of miners, the echo of untold tragedies, or something far older lingering in the soil, Idaho Springs Cemetery remains one of the most unsettling places in Colorado. It's a reminder that history never truly stays buried and that in the quiet hours of the night, the past has a way of making itself known. Silver Plume, Colorado, is a small mountain town nestled in the Rocky Mountains, often admired for its quiet streets and historic charm. At first glance, it appears peaceful, a place where the echoes of the past blend seamlessly with the beauty of nature. But beneath this calm surface lies a chilling story, one that has haunted the town for over a century. It is the tale of Clifford Griffin, a local baker whose tragic death in 1894 still reverberates through the hills and forests surrounding Silver Plume. Clifford Griffin was more than just a baker. To the townsfolk, he was a pillar of the community, known for his warm smile and freshly baked bread that welcomed miners and townspeople alike. His bakery was a gathering place, a spot where the aroma of sweet pastries mixed with the rugged mountain air. Yet Clifford had a secret passion, the violin. When the day's work was done, he would retreat to a quiet corner and play mournful melodies that seemed to echo the hardships of life in the mining town. But Clifford's life was cut brutally short. In 1894, his body was discovered deep inside a mine shaft near Silver Plume. He had been shot, and the circumstances surrounding his death were shrouded in mystery. Some say it was a tragic accident. Others whisper of darker motives, jealousy, betrayal, or perhaps a long-simmering feud within the tight-knit mining community. No matter the truth, Clifford's death left a scar on the town. one that seemed to seep into the very earth and air. Not long after his death, stories began to emerge of strange sounds drifting through the night. Campers and hikers reported hearing violin music floating on the wind, melancholy, haunting tunes that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The music would start softly, almost like a whisper, and then swell into a full, rich melody that sent chills down the spine. Just as suddenly as it began, the music would stop, leaving behind an unsettling silence. Those who have heard the violin music describe it as deeply emotional, filled with longing, sadness, and a sense of unfinished business. It is as if Clifford Griffin's spirit uses the haunting notes to communicate, telling a story no words could capture. The music seems to wander with the wind, drifting through the pine trees and echoing off the rugged mountain slopes. As if the ghostly violinist roams endlessly in search of peace. Several campers have reported waking up in the dead of night to hear the violin as mournful strains. Some describe feeling a sudden drop in temperature, as if the air around them thickened with sorrow. Others have said the music seemed to surround them, coming from all directions, making it impossible to locate its source. Despite attempts to follow the sound deeper into the woods or closer to the old mine shafts, the music remains elusive, always just out of reach. The mine shafts themselves hold a grim history. Once the lifeblood of Silver Plume's economy, they also claimed many lives. Dangerous conditions, cabins, and disputes over claims made the mines places of both fortune and fatal risk. Clifford's death in one such shaft only added to their dark reputation, turning the area into a place where the boundary between the living and the dead feels especially thin. Locals have long told tales of other unexplained occurrences linked to the haunting. Flickering lights deep in the forest, sudden chills on warm summer nights, and shadowy figures glimpsed among the trees all contribute to the eerie atmosphere. But it is the violin's mournful song that remains the signature phenomenon, the one most often recounted with a mix of fear and fascination. The legend of Clifford Griffin has become an integral part of Silver Plume's identity. Visitors drawn by the town's history and scenic beauty often seek out the spots where the music is said to be heard. Many come hoping to experience the haunting firsthand, to feel the presence of the baker who once brought comfort to his community in life and continues to express his sorrow in death. The story of Clifford Griffin and his ghostly violin serves as a poignant reminder of the hardships endured by early settlers and miners. It embodies the grief and unresolved pain that can linger long after a life ends, transforming a small mountain town into a place of spectral music and whispered memories. For those who visit Silver Plume, the haunting violin is not just a ghost story, it's a bridge to the past, a living echo of a man who loved his town, his craft, and his music so much that even death could not silence him. The mournful melodies drifting through the trees invite listeners to pause, to remember, and to wonder about the unseen lives woven into the rugged landscape of the Rockies. And so, when night falls over Silver Plume and the mountains hold their breath, some swear that if you listen closely, you can still hear Clifford Griffin's violin, soft, sorrowful, and haunting, carrying the pain and beauty of a life forever intertwined with the hills he once called home. The Sheridan Inn in Sheridan, Wyoming, stands as a living testament to the spirit of the American West. Founded in 1893 and once managed by the legendary Buffalo Bill Cody himself, the inn has welcomed countless travelers over the decades, offering comfort and hospitality against the rugged backdrop of Wyoming's frontier. But beneath its warm wood-paneled walls and classic Western charm lies a supernatural legacy that continues to fascinate guests and locals alike. The lingering presence of ghostly residents, chief among them the mysterious Miss Kate. Miss Kate was a housekeeper at the Sheridan Inn during its heyday, known for her unwavering dedication and gentle nature. She took pride in caring for the inn and its guests. According to stories passed down through generations, Kate loved the inn so deeply that she refused to leave even in death. It's said she died on the property, though the exact circumstances remain unclear. What is certain is that her spirit has remained, haunting the inn with a blend of mischief and warmth. Guests staying at the Sheridan infrequently recount strange experiences that point to Miss Kate's presence. One of the most common occurrences is the sound of knocking on doors during the dead of night. Visitors awakened by these knocks often find no one there when they open the door, yet the noise is persistent enough to make sleep impossible until morning. Some believe Kate is checking on her guests, ensuring their safety and comfort in the way she once did in life. Miss Kate's ghost is also known for moving belongings. Personal items, coats, hats, and small objects sometimes vanish from one spot, only to reappear somewhere else in the room. Guests have reported finding their watches on the dresser instead of the nightstand where they placed them, or discovering a book turned to a different page than where they left it. These subtle acts are not meant to frighten, but rather to announce her presence and remind visitors they are not alone. Perhaps the most endearing stories are those of Miss Kate tucking guests into bed. Several visitors have woken to find the covers pulled up neatly over them, as if a caring hand had adjusted the bedding. One guest described feeling a gentle touch on their shoulder just before drifting back to sleep. It's as if Kate is still fulfilling her housekeeper duties, watching over those who stay at the inn with the same tender care she once showed in life. The Sheridan Inn staff are no strangers to the paranormal either. Housekeepers often talk about hearing footsteps echoing down the hallways when the corridors are empty. Doors creak open and close on their own. And the faint scent of lavender, said to be Miss Kate's favorite fragrance, has been reported wafting through certain rooms. These encounters are accepted as part of the inn's unique character, adding a layer of living history to the guest experience. While Miss Kate is the inn's most famous ghost, she is not alone. Other spirits are said to roam the halls, including travelers who passed away while staying at the inn, and possibly even Buffalo Bill Cody himself. Visitors have occasionally reported seeing a tall figure in Old Western attire wandering the lobby late at night. Though such sightings are rare and fleeting, the Sheridan Inn embraces its haunted reputation with a respectful nod to its history. Ghost tours and storytelling events are held regularly, giving guests a chance to learn about the inn's colorful past and the spectral residents said to inhabit its rooms. These tours blend history and legend, weaving tales of frontier life with accounts of unexplained phenomena that continue to captivate visitors. Beyond the ghost stories, the inn's architecture and ambiance remain a draw. Its original hardwood floors, antique furnishings, and vintage evoke a time when the Wild West was still alive and bustling. The building itself feels like a portal to the past, and the presence of lingering spirits only deepens that sense of stepping back in time. Many guests come to the Sheridan in hoping to experience a piece of Old West history. Some leave with much more memories of strange sounds, unexplained movements, or even gentle touches in the night. These encounters, rather than scaring visitors away, often inspire a sense of wonder and connection to the past. For many, the knowledge that Miss Kate watches over the inn adds a comforting warmth to their stay. Over the years, the stories of Miss Kate and the other spirits of the Sheridan Inn have grown into local legend, a beloved part of Sheridan's cultural fabric. They serve as reminders of the town's rich history and the people who shaped it, in a place where the past is never far from the present. These ghostly tales keep the spirit of the Old West alive not just in stories, but in the very walls of the inn itself. The Sheridan Inn stands today not only as a historic hotel, but as a living monument to the resilience, hospitality, and mystery of the American frontier. Its haunted halls whisper stories of dedication, love, and lingering presence, of a housekeeper who loved her work so much she never left. Visitors who experience the inn's supernatural side often find themselves part of that story, sharing in a connection that spans time and transcends the veil between the living and the dead. Cripple Creek, Colorado, is a town steeped in the rugged spirit of the Old West, a place where the echoes of its violent past still linger in the air. Once a booming mining hub during the late 19th century gold rush, Cripple Creek grew rapidly as prospectors and fortune seekers flooded the area. But beneath its lively streets and historic facades lies a darker history marked by crime, corruption, and tragedy, and a reputation as one of Colorado's most haunted towns. One of the most famous haunted sites in Cripple Creek is the Imperial Hotel. Established in the early 1900s, the hotel quickly became a centerpiece of the town's nightlife and social scene. It attracted miners, gamblers, and travelers from far and wide, all seeking the promise of wealth and adventure. However, the Imperial Hotel also holds secrets that go beyond its polished exterior. The spirit of the hotel's former owner is said to still roam its halls. His death, shrouded in mystery and suspicion, has fueled decades of ghost stories. According to local lore, the owner died under circumstances that never quite added up, leaving many to believe foul play was involved. Guests and staff alike report strange happenings, unexplained noises, flickering lights, and objects moving on their own. Visitors have described feeling sudden cold spots and the sensation of being watched, especially near the old owner's suite, which has remained mostly untouched over the years. Beyond the Imperial Hotel lies Cripple Creek's old jail, another hotspot for paranormal activity. The jail's stone walls and iron bars hold the memories of countless prisoners who endured harsh conditions and desperate circumstances. Some of those inmates met violent ends, their stories etched into the fabric of the building. Today, the jail is known for strange sounds that seem to replay the agony of the past. Phantom shouts and cries have been heard echoing through the empty cells, chilling visitors and staff alike. Some say they've even caught fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures pacing the halls, trapped in an eternal punishment. The alleys and backstreets of Cripple Creek offer their own share of eerie experiences. In certain spots, visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature. Cold so intense, it feels like a physical presence brushing past them. These inexplicable chills come without warning and are often accompanied by a fleeting sense of unease, or the sensation that something unseen is close by. Such experiences have been reported by locals and tourists, adding to the town's mysterious atmosphere. The combination of Cripple Creek's history and its haunted reputation draws ghost hunters, paranormal enthusiasts, and curious travelers from across the country. Guided tours through the town's historic buildings often include tales of the supernatural, blending fact and folklore into gripping narratives. These tours explore not only the haunted locations, but also the stories of the people who lived, worked, and died there, giving visitors a glimpse into the human drama behind the ghostly sightings. Cripple Creek's mining boom was fueled by greed and rivalry, and many of its hauntings reflect the violence and betrayal that marked its early days. From deadly shootouts to fatal accidents in the mines, the town's past is filled with events that could leave lingering impressions on the land and its buildings. It's this combination of history and haunting that makes Cripple Creek such a compelling destination for those fascinated by the supernatural. The town has embraced its eerie legacy, celebrating both its historical significance and its ghostly inhabitants. Annual events and festivals often highlight the haunted aspects of Cripple Creek, inviting visitors to explore its dark corners with guides who share both historical facts and chilling ghost stories. These events keep the spirit of the town alive, both the living and the dead. For many who visit, the haunted experiences are not just about fear, but also about connection. The ghosts of Cripple Creek are seen as echoes of a turbulent past, reminders of the struggles, hopes, and failures of those who came before. Whether it's the restless spirit of the Imperial Hotel's owner, the anguished cries from the old jail, or the cold brushes in shadowed alleys, these hauntings offer a window into the human stories that shaped this rugged mountain town. Cripple Creek today balances its lively tourist attractions with respect for its haunted history. Visitors can walk its historic streets by day, exploring museums, shops, and old mining sites, and by night, experience a different side of the town, one where the past reaches out through whispers, shadows, and chills. This dual nature makes Cripple Creek a unique place where history and mystery intertwine. In the end, Cripple Creek's ghosts are part of what makes the town unforgettable. They serve as silent witnesses to a bygone era of ambition and adversity. Their presence felt in the creak of a floorboard, the flicker of a light, or the sudden cold that brushes against the skin. For those willing to listen and look beyond the surface, Cripple Creek offers not just a glimpse of the Old West, but a haunting journey into the unknown. The Pollard Hotel in Red Lodge, Montana, stands as a proud relic of the late 19th century, steeped in history and whispered legends. Since its establishment in 1893, the Pollard was known as the finest hotel in the region, a place where miners, travelers, and townsfolk gathered under one roof. Its elegant architecture and refined service made it a symbol of prosperity during Montana's mining boom. But behind its stately facade lies a darker, more mysterious side that reveals itself through ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena that have become part of the Pollard's enduring identity. Many guests who spend the night at the Pollard report seeing shadowy figures moving quickly and silently along the dimly lit hallways. These shapes are described as fleeting and intangible, more like dark silhouettes than full-bodied ghosts. They dart just out of sight, leaving behind an eerie sense of being watched. Witnesses often feel an unseen presence following them or lurking just beyond the edge of their vision, creating an unsettling tension that lingers long after the figures vanish. This haunting phenomenon isn't confined to a single area of the hotel. Shadows have been spotted near the old staircases, outside guest rooms, and in the corridors that seem frozen in time. The presence is described not as threatening, but rather as restless spirits caught between worlds, wandering the halls they once frequented during their lifetime. Along with these mysterious figures, many guests hear heavy footsteps pacing just outside their doors late at night. The footsteps are deliberate and steady, echoing through the quiet hallways as if someone is silently patrolling the hotel. However, when guests open their doors to investigate, they find nothing but empty corridors and still air. This auditory haunting has become one of the hotel's signature paranormal experiences, prompting guests to speculate about who or what could be making those sounds. The sensation of footsteps, combined with the sighting of shadows, has created an atmosphere where guests feel both intrigued and uneasy. It is as though the hotel itself is alive with memories and energies from the past, replaying moments long gone in a spectral loop. Perhaps one of the most unsettling aspects of staying at the Pollard is the strange movement of furniture and personal belongings. Guests often awaken to find chairs, tables, or beds slightly shifted from where they were left. In some cases, personal items are found in different places, despite guests being certain they placed them elsewhere. These changes are subtle but unmistakable, lending a tangible proof to the hotel's haunted reputation. Hotel staff, too, have noticed these unexplained housekeepers sometimes find rooms disturbed, even though they were left undisturbed just hours before. The unexplained movements suggest that the spirits here are not merely observing, but are interacting with the physical environment in a very real way. The Pollard's haunted reputation is deeply rooted in its rich and often turbulent history. During the height of the mining era, Red Lodge was a bustling town marked by boomtown prosperity and the rough, often violent lives of miners and settlers. The hotel itself was a social hub where deals were made and fortunes were won or lost. The energy of these events, both joyous and tragic, is said to have left an imprint on the building, manifesting as the ghostly activities witnessed today. Locals tell tales of miners, gamblers, and townsfolk who may have died unexpectedly or under mysterious circumstances, their spirits lingering in the place where they spent their last days. While no single story dominates the hotel's haunted lore, the collective history of lives touched by hardship, ambition, and loss fills the halls with lingering energy. Employees at the Pollard have their own share of eerie encounters. Some have heard whispering voices when no one else was around, while others report sudden cold spots areas where the temperature drops noticeably without explanation. Maintenance workers occasionally experience equipment malfunctions or flickering lights in parts of the hotel known for paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have visited the Pollard on multiple occasions, drawn by the abundance of eyewitness accounts and the hotel's preserved historical character. Using audio and visual recording equipment, investigators have captured unexplained noises, electromagnetic disturbances, and shadowy figures on camera. These findings have added credibility to the stories shared by guests and staff, reinforcing the Pollard's status as one of Montana's most haunted hotels. Despite the unsettling experiences, the Pollard remains a cherished landmark in Red Lodge. Its unique combination of historical significance and paranormal allure attracts visitors from around the world, many of whom come seeking a glimpse of the unexplained. For some, the ghost stories are a thrilling part of their stay, adding excitement and mystery to their visit. The Pollard's hauntings are not seen as malevolent, but as echoes of a bygone-era spirits bound to the place by memories, emotions, and unfinished business. They remind us that history is not just recorded in books or photographs, but lives on in the spaces we inhabit. The hotel's spectral residents serve as silent witnesses to over a century of stories of lives lived, dreams pursued, and moments frozen in time. For those who walk the halls of the Pollard Hotel at night, the experience is one of stepping into a world where the past and present converge. The shadowy figures, the ghostly footsteps, and the mysteriously moved furniture all invite guests to engage with the hotel's rich history in a way that transcends the ordinary. The Pollard stands as a testament to the power of memory, the persistence of spirit, and the timeless allure of the unknown. Silver City Ghost Town in Idaho is one of the most remarkably preserved remnants of the Rocky Mountains mining era. Nestled in a remote mountain valley, this once thriving mining town now stands frozen in time, its weathered wooden buildings and deserted streets telling a story of boom and bust. But beyond its eerie silence, Silver City harbors a chilling secretan, otherworldly presence that seems to awaken when the sun sets and the shadows grow long. Among the many historic structures still standing, the Idaho Hotel stands out as a beacon for ghostly activity. This old hotel, once bustling with miners, travelers, and fortune seekers, has become the focal point for strange and unexplained phenomena. Visitors who venture inside often describe an unsettling feeling, as though they have stepped not just into a building, but into a bridge between the past and the present. One of the most commonly reported experiences at the Idaho Hotel involves doors opening and closing by themselves. Guests and explorers alike have recounted moments when a door will swing wide without warning, only to quietly shut moments later. These movements occur without a breeze or any physical cause, as the hotel's interior remains still and silent. Many describe a palpable sense of being watched when these events happen, a feeling that unseen eyes are observing every step. Phantom conversations are another chilling hallmark of the Idaho Hotel. Visitors frequently hear faint voices drifting from empty rooms, snatches of old-time chatter, laughter, and the occasional sharp word. These voices are distant yet clear, like echoes of long-gone guests continuing their conversations in a realm beyond human reach. The sounds can be both comforting and disturbing, creating a surreal atmosphere where the line between history and haunting blurs. Perhaps the most haunting sighting at the Idaho Hotel is that of a woman in 19th century clothing appearing in mirrors. This apparition is described as a graceful figure, often seen brushing her hair or gazing out a window behind those who catch a glimpse. The woman's attire suggests she is from Silver City's heyday, a time when life was hard and fortunes were made or lost in the mines. Some say she is a former guest who met a tragic end within the hotel's walls, while others believe she is a spirit tied to the building's long history. Local legends add to the intrigue, telling stories of Silver City's residents who never left even after the last miners packed up and the town was abandoned. The spirits are said to wander the streets, the hotel, and other historic buildings, replaying moments from a forgotten era. The town's isolation and preservation make these hauntings all the more vivid, as if the ghosts refuse to let time erase their existence. The atmosphere in Silver City is unique, a blend of natural beauty and spectral presence. During the day, sunlight filters through towering pine trees, illuminating the rustic charm of the town's wooden storefronts and weather-beaten signs. But as twilight descends, an eerie quiet envelops the area, and the veil between worlds feels thinner. Visitors often report a shift in the air, a sudden drop in temperature, or an intangible sense of being accompanied by unseen entities. Ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to Silver City for its reputation and the chance to witness the unexplained firsthand. Investigations inside the Idaho Hotel have captured mysterious sounds on audio recordings, whispers, footsteps, and faint tapping that seem to come from empty corners. Thermal cameras have recorded cold spots moving through the rooms, and some investigators claim to have seen fleeting shadows darting just beyond the edge of vision. Despite the ghostly encounters, Silver City remains a respectful reminder of the region's rich history. Preservation efforts have maintained the town's structures, allowing visitors to step back into the 19th century and imagine life during the gold and silver rushes. The hauntings add a layer of depth to this experience, inviting people to consider the emotional imprint left behind by those who lived, struggled, and died in this rugged mountain town. Stories from local residents and past visitors enrich the tapestry of Silver City's supernatural reputation. Some tell of unexplained footsteps echoing on creaky floors, while others speak of doors that open only to reveal empty rooms. A few have reported sudden chills or the sensation of being gently touched when no one else is around. These anecdotes, passed down and shared, keep the ghostly legends alive and fuel the curiosity of new visitors. The Idaho Hotel's spectral woman in the mirror is perhaps the most captivating story. Many who have seen her describe a mix of fear and fascination. She is often described as sad but serene, a gentle reminder of a time when Silver City was alive with hope and hardship. Some say she is waiting for someone or something that never came, forever trapped in the reflection of a bygone age. Silver City's haunting is not just about ghosts. It is about memory, history, and the persistence of the past. The town's silence speaks volumes, and the spirits that roam its streets serve as living monuments to lives long ended but never forgotten. For those who visit, the experience is more than a ghost story, is a connection to the human drama etched into the mountainside. The Elkhorn ghost town in Montana is a haunting reminder of a once thriving silver mining community that now stands frozen in time. Nestled high in the rugged mountains, Elkhorn was established in the late 19th century during Montana's silver boom. The town flourished for decades, bustling with miners, families, and businesses, all drawn by the promise of fortune beneath the rocky earth. But tragedy struck hard, leaving scars that still echo through the empty streets and weathered buildings. Among the most devastating events in Elkhorn's history was a diphtheria outbreak that swept through the town, wiping out dozens of children in a matter of months. In a community that relied heavily on family and kinship, the loss was unfathomable. The deaths left an indelible mark on the town's collective memory, shaping its identity long after the mines fell silent and the residents moved on. Today, Elkhorn stands as a ghost town, a skeletal reminder of the boom-on-bust cycle that shaped much of Montana's mining history. Its abandoned buildings, from the old schoolhouse to the shuttered homes and empty saloons, offer a glimpse into a past that still feels alive. But it's not just the physical remnants that captivate visitors. It's the stories of the spirits said to linger, especially the children who lost their lives so tragically. Locals and visitors alike have reported hearing the unmistakable sound of children's laughter drifting through the air as dusk falls over Elkhorn. The laughter is described as joyful and innocent, a sharp contrast to the silence that dominates the rest of the day. Some say it's the echoes of those lost young lives, still playing and wandering through the streets they once knew. Along with the laughter, there are frequent sightings of small, fleeting figures darting between buildings or along the deserted pathways. These apparitions are often described as shadowy children, too quick to catch clearly but undeniably present. Witnesses report these figures moving with playful energy, as if engaged in some eternal game, oblivious to the passage of time. The old schoolhouse, where many of the town's children once learned and played, is said to be one of the most active locations for these supernatural occurrences. Visitors have heard faint giggles, the tapping of small feet, and even the sound of chalk scraping against a blackboard when no one is present. Some have felt a sudden drop in temperature or a light brush against their skin, sensations that suggest the children's spirits are still near. These hauntings are not meant to frighten, but to remind those who visit of the lives that once animated Elkhorn streets. The presence of the children's spirits serves as a poignant testament to the town's history marked by hope, community, and heartbreaking loss. In addition to the children's hauntings, Elkhorn holds stories of miners and townsfolk who also remain tethered to the place. Their spirits are said to roam the old saloons and mining tunnels, silent witnesses to the town's glory days and its eventual decline. The combination of joyful childhood echoes and the solemn memories of adults creates a complex tapestry of emotion that lingers in the air. Elkhorn's isolation and preservation have helped maintain the authenticity of these ghost stories. Unlike many other former mining towns that have been rebuilt or heavily altered, Elkhorn remains largely untouched. Walking its streets is like stepping back into history, where the boundary between the living and the dead feels especially thin. Many paranormal enthusiasts visit Elkhorn seeking to capture evidence of the supernatural. Equipment placed in the schoolhouse and around the town has recorded unexplained sounds, footsteps, whispers, and the faint ringing of children's laughter. Photographs sometimes reveal orbs or shadowy shapes that defy logical explanation. These findings continue to fuel fascination with Elkhorn and its spectral residents. The tragic story of the diphtheria outbreak and the children who perished has become the heart of Elkhorn's haunting identity. Rather than being a place of fear, the town is seen as a place of remembrance and connection, where the past reaches out gently to those willing to listen. For visitors, the experience of Elkhorn is both eerie and moving. The laughter heard on the wind, the glimpses of playful figures, and the quiet echoes of history invite reflection on the fragility of life and the resilience of memory. It is a haunting that honors the spirit of a community, forever changed but never forgotten. In the end, Elkhorn Ghost Town is more than just an abandoned mining settlement. It is a living monument to the children who lost their lives too soon, their joyful spirits preserved in the twilight hours. The town's haunting is a blend of sorrow and innocence, a reminder that even in places marked by tragedy, the laughter of youth can still be heard echoing through time. The Brown Palace Hotel in Denver, Colorado, stands as an enduring symbol of luxury, elegance, and rich history. Since opening its doors in 1892, it has been a prestigious destination for travelers, dignitaries, and celebrities, captivating guests with its stunning architecture and impeccable service. Yet beneath the polished marble floors and gleaming chandelier, the Brown Palace holds secrets that many have found both intriguing and unsettling. Tales of ghostly encounters and paranormal activity have become part of the hotel's enduring legacy, adding an eerie allure to its timeless charm. Among the most frequently reported supernatural phenomena at the Brown Palace are the sounds of ghostly musicians playing in the grand ballroom. Staff and guests alike have described hearing the faint strains of piano, violin, and other orchestral instruments drifting through the air, often when no events are scheduled. The melodies echo softly, as if a spectral orchestra is rehearsing or performing a concert long past. The music is both haunting and beautiful, conjuring images of elegant balls and glamorous parties from the hotel's early days. The ballroom, once the center of Denver's high society gatherings, seems to be a place where time folds, allowing the spirits of past guests and performers to continue their revelry. Some guests have even reported seeing fleeting shadows or figures dressed in period clothing near the stage or along the walls, vanishing before they can be fully seen. These ghostly musicians appear to be trapped in an eternal dance, their music lingering as a poignant reminder of the hotel's storied past. Another well-known apparition is the Phantom Bellman, a courteous figure who appears in the lobby or near the hotel's entrance, dressed in the traditional uniform of a bellhop from the early 20th century. This spirit is often seen offering to carry guests' luggage. Guests who have accepted his assistance find that when they turn back to thank him, the bellman has vanished, sometimes without a trace, sometimes leaving behind a faint, lingering scent of old cologne or polished leather. Rather than being frightening, his presence is often described as polite and helpful, embodying the impeccable service that has long been a hallmark of the Brown Palace. The Phantom Bellman's appearances serve as a bridge between past and present, linking the hotel's rich history of hospitality to the modern-day experience. His presence reminds guests that the hotel is not just a building, but a living entity shaped by the countless lives it has touched over more than a century. Perhaps one of the most mysterious and haunting figures reported at the Brown Palace is that of an old woman who appears silently, watching from the corners of certain rooms and hallways. She is usually described as wearing clothing from the early 1900s, a long dress and bonnetand. Her expression is one of quiet sadness or deep contemplation. Guests who have noticed her presence often feel an intense sense of being observed, accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature or an unexplained chill. The identity of this woman remains unknown, though many speculate she may have been a former guest or staff member with a strong connection to the hotel. Some believe she lingers due to unfinished business or an emotional attachment to the place she once called home. Her silent watchfulness adds an aura of mystery to the hotel's ghost stories and invites speculation about the many personal histories contained within its walls. Hotel staff have long acknowledged the presence of these spectral figures as part of the Brown Palace's unique character. Housekeepers often find rooms slightly disturbed after cleaning, furniture subtly shifted, or personal items moved without explanation. Maintenance workers report flickering lights, sudden cold spots, and unexplained noises echoing through the corridors during the quiet hours of the night. Front desk clerks and bellhops have shared stories of hearing footsteps or catching brief glimpses of shadowy figures in the periphery of their vision. Paranormal investigators have visited the Brown Palace on numerous occasions, drawn by its reputation and the wealth of eyewitness accounts. Using specialized equipment, they have captured unexplained electromagnetic disturbances, ghostly sounds, and even shadow figures on camera. While skeptics argue these phenomena can be explained by the building's age and acoustics, many remain convinced that the Brown Palace harbors genuine spirits. The hotel embraces its haunted reputation as part of its rich history. Guests often inquire about the ghost stories, and some even choose to stay specifically to experience the paranormal firsthand. The Brown Palace occasionally offers ghost tours, where visitors can explore the hotel's hidden corners and hear detailed accounts of its spectral residents. These tours blend history, mystery, and the supernatural, providing an unforgettable glimpse into Denver's past. Despite the ghostly tales, the Brown Palace remains a place of comfort, elegance, and hospitality. Its ghosts are seen not as malevolent spirits, but as gentle echoes of the past, silently coexisting with the living. They enrich the hotel's atmosphere, adding layers of depth to its legacy and connecting present-day guests with the stories of those who walked its halls long ago. For many visitors, the experience of staying at the Brown Palace is heightened by these mysterious encounters. The soft strains of unseen musicians, the courteous phantom bellman, and the silent old woman watching from the shadows create an ambience unlike any other. Guests leave not only with memories of luxury and fine service, but also with stories of the unexplained, tales that add to the hotel's mystique and allure. In the end, the Brown Palace Hotel stands as more than just a historic building. It is a living monument to Denver's past and its enduring spirit. Its ghostly residents are reminders that history is not confined to books or photographs, but can be felt in the very walls and corridors around us. The echoes of music, footsteps, and silent watchfulness invite all who enter to listen closely and embrace the mystery that has made the Brown Palace a timeless treasure in the heart of Colorado's capital city. Estes Park's Haunted Museum in Colorado is a place where the echoes of history intertwine with the supernatural, creating an atmosphere thick with mystery and unsettling occurrences. Originally constructed as a hospital in the early 20th century, the building later found new purpose as a museum dedicated to preserving the rich heritage of Estes Park and the surrounding Rocky Mountain region. Yet, beneath its walls filled with artifacts and stories, The museum has become well known for paranormal activity that has both fascinated and frightened visitors for decades. The building's origins as a hospital play a central role in its haunted reputation. For many years, it served as a sanctuary for the sick and injured, a place where lives hung in delicate balance, and the struggle between life and death was a daily reality. The emotional intensity of those times left an imprint on the building, one that seems to linger in the form of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena. It is believed that some of the souls of former patients and hospital staff remain tethered to the place, unable or unwilling to move on. Visitors to Estes Park's haunted museum often report sensations that defy logical explanation. One of the most common experiences is the feeling of cold hands suddenly grasping their shoulders, sometimes with a gentle touch and other times with a more startling grip. These ghostly touches are unexpected and leave an icy chill that travels down the spine. Despite the coldness, many describe the sensation as oddly comforting, like a presence trying to communicate or offer reassurance rather than frighten. The voices of children are another frequent phenomenon reported within the museum's rooms. Even when the building is quiet and empty, the faint sound of laughter, soft chatter, or the playful cries of children can be heard drifting through the air. These voices often come from spaces that were once patient wards or waiting rooms during the hospital's operational days. The presence of youthful spirits adds an eerie but poignant layer to the haunting, reminding visitors of lives once lived and lost. Perhaps one of the most unsettling aspects of the paranormal activity involves old wheelchairs that seem to move on their own. Guests and staff have witnessed these chairs rolling slowly down hallways, turning corners, or even stopping abruptly without any visible force. The sound of creaking wheels on wooden floors often precedes their appearance, heightening the sense of unease. These wheelchairs, long since abandoned as hospital relics, seem animated by unseen hands, suggesting a lingering connection to the patients who once relied on them for mobility. The movement of these wheelchairs is not random. Some say it feels purposeful, as if the spirits are retracing familiar routes or attempting to reach specific destinations within the building. This haunting element is one of the most tangible and physical, giving visitors an undeniable sense that the past is actively present. Staff members at the museum have also encountered various other paranormal phenomena. Flickering lights, sudden drops in temperature, and unexplained noises are regularly reported. Some have heard footsteps echoing through empty hallways or felt the sensation of being watched while alone in the building. These experiences have become a part of the museum's daily life, contributing to its reputation as one of Colorado's most haunted locations. One particularly chilling story comes from a night guard who reported hearing disembodied voices calling out for help near the old hospital wards. Despite checking the area thoroughly, no one was found. On another occasion, a visitor claimed to see the apparition of a nurse standing silently at the end of a hallway, dressed in a vintage uniform and watching with sorrowful eyes before disappearing into the shadows. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to Estes Park as haunted museum by its extensive history and abundance of ghostly reports. Using a variety of electronic devices, they have recorded unexplained sounds, electromagnetic fluctuations, and cold spots. Some captured audio recordings contain faint voices and whispers that seem to originate from empty rooms. Thermal cameras have revealed sudden temperature drops, and in some cases, shadowy figures have been caught on video. Lending credibility to the eyewitness accounts, these investigations have helped bring national attention to the museum's paranormal activity, attracting thrill seekers and history enthusiasts alike. Guided ghost tours are sometimes offered, blending historical storytelling with spine-tingling encounters. These tours invite visitors to explore the building's most active areas and learn about the hospital's history, creating an immersive experience where the line between past and present blurs. Despite its haunted reputation, Estes Park's Haunted Museum remains a beloved cultural institution. It preserves important artifacts and stories from the town's past, connecting the community to its roots. The paranormal activity is viewed by many not as a source of fear, but as a living testament to the people who once walked these halls, patients, nurses, and staff whose lives left a lasting mark. For visitors, the museum offers more than just a glimpse into local history. It presents a chance to experience a world where the spirit of the past is palpably present. The cold touches, children's laughter, and rolling wheelchairs serve as reminders that some stories do not end with death. They continue on in the places where life was once vibrant. Ultimately, Estes Park's Haunted Museum is a place where memory and mystery intertwine. Its walls hold echoes of compassion and suffering, joy and loss, captured in the restless energy of those who remain. To walk its halls is to step into a realm where history breathes and the supernatural lingers, inviting all who enter to listen closely and witness the unseen. High in the rugged mountains of Montana lies Garnet, Ghost Town, a haunting remnant of the American West's gold rush era. Once a thriving mining community, Garnet now stands frozen in time. Its weather-beaten, wooden buildings slowly surrendering to the elements. Each winter, heavy snow blankets the town, hiding it away beneath thick layers of ice and frost. But when spring arrives and the snows melt, the town awakens with strange signs that hint at a restless past. Footprints that appear in the mud, doors swinging in still air, and the faint, ghostly echo of a piano drifting through the mountain silence. Garnet was founded in the late 1800s during the Montana Gold Rush. Miners and their families flocked to this remote mountain settlement with dreams of striking it rich. The town quickly grew, boasting a saloon, general store, schoolhouse, and boarding houses to support its population. Life in Garnet was rough and rugged, dictated by the unforgiving terrain and the boom and bust cycle of mining. When the gold ran dry, the miners left, and Garnet was abandoned, slowly turning into a ghost town that holds its secrets tightly within its weathered walls. Today, Garnet is preserved as one of Montana's best examples of a ghost town, attracting history enthusiasts and adventurous visitors alike. But alongside the visible decay and nostalgic remnants of the past, there is an eerie atmosphere that pervades the town, an intangible feeling that the spirits of Garnet's former residents still linger, watching over their old home. One of the most baffling mysteries of Garnet is the appearance of footprints that materialize each spring after the snow melts. These prints are unmistakably human in shape and size, deeply etched into the muddy paths winding between the buildings. However, the tracks seem to lead nowhere, abruptly ending in open fields or disappearing into thick underbrush. Despite careful searches, no human presence is ever found nearby. These footprints have been a source of intrigue and speculation. Some believe they are the restless steps of the miners who once toiled here, forever trapped in a ghostly loop through the town they built. Others suggest the prints could be the result of natural phenomena, animals or erosion shaped by water. But the precise human form of the tracks defies easy explanation. Visitors to Garnet also report hearing sounds that add to the town's haunting reputation. One of the most commonly mentioned is the swinging of saloon doors. The town's old saloon doors, once a bustling entrance for miners seeking whiskey and camaraderie, are said to creak open and shut despite the absence of wind. This creaking, rhythmic and familiar, seems to echo the lively conversations and laughter that once filled the saloon's smoky interior. Adding to the spectral ambience, many have heard the faint sound of piano music drifting through the quiet mountain air. The source of the melody is never found, but the delicate notes bring to mind a bygone era of dance halls and nightly entertainment. Some say the piano playing is a ghostly replay of happier times, when the town's residents gathered to forget their hardships and celebrate life's fleeting joys. The combination of these unexplained footprints, swinging doors, and ghostly piano music has made Garnet a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts and curious travelers. Stories of ghostly encounters have circulated for decades, passed down by locals and visitors who swear they felt something otherworldly amid the town's rustic ruins. Explorers walking the deserted streets often describe a profound stillness, punctuated by sudden, unexplainable noises. The soft creak of wood settling, the rustle of unseen footsteps, and the occasional distant murmur seem to breathe life into the empty buildings. Many speak of an atmosphere thick with unseen watchers, eyes that follow quietly, unseen presences that linger just out of sight. The old boarding house is one of the town's hotspots for supernatural activity. Guests who spend the night report hearing footsteps pacing above them in the empty rooms, or catching fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures moving through the doorways. Some say the boarding house holds the spirits of miners who never left, still searching for their lost fortunes or guarding the memories of those hard, desperate days. The saloon itself holds a powerful pull. Visitors stepping through the doors often feel a sudden drop in temperature, as if entering a boundary between worlds. The swinging doors seem to move on their own, as though inviting unseen patrons inside. Some have felt the sensation of being touched or brushed past by invisible hands, while others have reported whispers and murmurs just beyond the range of hearing. The piano music, heard at dusk or during the quiet hours of the night, is described as melancholic and haunting. The notes seem to rise and fall with the wind, carrying a bittersweet melody that speaks of longing and loss. Despite numerous searches, no actual piano or player has ever been found, lending the music an ethereal quality that captivates those who hear it. Seasonal visitors to Garnet share stories of sudden changes in weather or temperature, as if the spirits influence the natural world around them. Some claim to have witnessed flickering lights or orbs hovering near the buildings, illuminating the town in a ghostly glow. Photographers attempting to capture the perfect shot often find strange anomalies in their images. Unexplained shadows, glowing shapes, or blurs that cannot be accounted for. Local legends suggest that the spirits of Garnet's residents are bound to the town by unfinished business or tragic ends. Miners who perished in accidents, families who lost loved ones, and townsfolk who witnessed the community's slow decline are believed to haunt the streets, replaying moments from their lives and refusing to move on. The footprints, doors, and piano music are seen as manifestations of this lingering attachment. Paranormal investigators have visited Garnet to document its haunted reputation. Audio devices have picked up faint whispers and piano-like notes, while cameras have recorded unexplained orbs and shadowy figures. These findings have only deepened the town's allure as a haunted destination. Despite the ghostly tales, Garnet remains a place of natural beauty and historical significance. Its rustic cabins, weathered storefronts, and scenic mountain backdrop create a striking contrast between the tangible past and the intangible mysteries that surround it. Visitors come not only to explore the relics of the Old West, but also to experience the eerie atmosphere that defines Garnet. For those who wander the muddy paths in spring, the footprints serve as a chilling reminder that some presences are never fully gone. The swinging saloon doors and the piano's haunting melody whisper stories from a time long past, inviting listeners to step beyond the ordinary and into a world where history and the supernatural merge. Garnet Ghost Town is more than a collection of abandoned buildings. It is a place where the spirit of the Old West endures, alive in the footsteps, sounds, and shadows that persist through the years. It remains a captivating destination for anyone drawn to the mysteries of the past and the possibility of encountering the unexplained in the heart of Montana's wilderness. Hotel Jerome in Aspen, Colorado, is a stunning example of historic luxury mingled with a chilling supernatural presence. Since its grand opening in 1889, the hotel has been a beacon of elegance and refinement in this mountain town, attracting wealthy guests seeking comfort amid the rugged Colorado wilderness. But beneath the polished veneer of this celebrated establishment lies a haunting story that has captured the imagination of visitors and locals alike for generations. The hotel's most famous ghost is a young boy whose tragic fate is etched into the very fabric of Hotel Jerome. According to legend, the boy drowned in the hotel's swimming pool many years ago, a loss that still reverberates through the halls. His restless spirit is said to remain, leaving behind eerie signs of his presence that continue to mystify guests. Numerous visitors have reported seeing wet footprints appear mysteriously on the plush carpets near the pool area and beyond. These footprints are small and childlike, seemingly trailing from the pool, but ending abruptly in the middle of hallways or guest rooms. The footprints remain visible for a short time before fading away, leaving witnesses puzzled and sometimes deeply unsettled. Adding to the mystery, guests have felt sudden drops of cold water dripping on their skin indoors, far from any source of moisture. These chilling sensations often happen without warning and are described as both startling and inexplicable. Some believe these drops are the ghostly boy's way of making contact, a fleeting reminder of the water that claimed his life. The pool itself, once a central feature of the hotel's amenities, is often at the heart of the haunting tales. Though no longer in use as a swimming area, it remains a symbolic place where the boundary between the living and the spirit world feels thin. The boy's apparition has been glimpsed by some visitors, usually as a fleeting shadow or a shimmering figure near the water's edge. Hotel staff have their own encounters with the boy's spirit. Employees report hearing the sound of splashing water and childish laughter echoing faintly through empty corridors. Some have witnessed objects near the pool moving on their own or felt the sensation of being lightly touched by invisible hands. Housekeepers occasionally find towels or personal items mysteriously misplaced, as if moved by an unseen presence. While the boy's ghost is the most renowned, Hotel Jerome hosts a variety of other paranormal occurrences. Guests have reported flickering lights, unexplained cold spots in certain rooms, and the sensation of being watched even when alone. Some visitors speak of hearing footsteps pacing above them or whispers carried on the breeze through open windows. The hotel's long and rich history contributes to its supernatural lore. As one of Aspen's oldest buildings, it has witnessed decades of celebrations, tragedies, and transformations. Over the years, many guests have come and gone, some leaving behind memories that linger like shadows. The ghosts of the past, especially the boy by the pool, seem to hold on tightly to the place they once called home. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to Hotel Jerome's haunting reputation for years. Using audio recorders and thermal imaging, they have captured unexplained sounds and temperature anomalies. Recordings have picked up faint voices and laughter, while cameras have caught orbs and shadowy figures in the darker corners of the hotel. These findings add weight to the numerous personal accounts of ghostly encounters. Despite its eerie tales, Hotel Jerome remains a beloved landmark, known not only for its elegance, but also for its mysterious allure. Many visitors come hoping to experience a brush with the paranormal, intrigued by the stories of the young boy and other spirits who may still roam the halls. The hotel embraces this part of its legacy, occasionally offering ghost tours and storytelling sessions that highlight its haunted history. For guests staying overnight, the presence of the supernatural adds an unexpected dimension to their visit. The subtle sounds, cold touches, and fleeting appearances create a unique atmosphere where history and mystery intertwine. The boy's spirit, in particular, is remembered not with fear, but with a sense of poignancy, reminder of a life cut short and the lasting impact of loss. Hotel Jerome's blend of luxury and haunting encapsulates the dual nature of many historic hotels, where the grandeur of the past is often shadowed by stories of sorrow and the unexplained. It stands as a testament to Aspen's evolving story, a place where time seems to fold back on itself, and the living share space with echoes of those long gone. Walking through Hotel Jerome, visitors are invited to look beyond the surface, beyond the polished wood and crystal chandeliers, and sense the deeper stories hidden within its walls. The wet footprints on the carpet, the cold drops of water, and the faint laughter are more than just ghost stories. They are living reminders of the lives that once animated this grand hotel. In the end, Hotel Jerome is a place of contrast, where elegance meets eerie, where laughter mingles with loss, and where the past lingers just out of sight. For those who cross its threshold, the experience is unforgettably journey into a world where the spirits of history continue to whisper among the halls, inviting us to listen and remember. Perched high on the rugged slopes of Colorado's Pikes Peak, the Cliff House stands as a majestic sentinel overlooking the vast mountain landscape. With a history stretching back over 150 years, This venerable hotel has witnessed countless stories of triumph and tragedy. But beyond its breathtaking views and rich heritage, the Cliff House is steeped in an eerie atmosphere that has earned it a reputation as one of Colorado's most haunted landmarks. The Cliff House was originally built in the mid-19th century during the early days of Colorado's mountain tourism boom. Its grand Victorian architecture and prime location made it an immediate attraction for travelers seeking rest and respite amid the breathtaking alpine scenery. However, the hotel's long life has been marked by challenges, devastating fires, untimely deaths, and mysterious happenings that have left their mark on the building and the spirits who still seem to dwell within. One of the most enduring legends at the Cliff House involves a lady in a Victorian gown who has been repeatedly spotted near the hotel's grand fireplace. Witnesses describe her as a graceful apparition, clad in an elegant dress reminiscent of the late 1800s, with an expression both serene and melancholy. She appears most often in the evening, her figure shimmering faintly in the firelight before vanishing without a trace. The identity of this ghostly woman remains unknown, but some speculate she may be the spirit of a former guest or resident who met a tragic end within the hotel's walls. Others suggest she could be linked to one of the many fires that plagued the Cliff House throughout its history. Perhaps a soul caught between worlds, unable to leave the place she once loved. Beyond the sightings of the Victorian lady, the Cliff House is known for a series of strange and unsettling occurrences that unsettle both guests and staff. Doors are notorious for slamming shut unexpectedly in empty corridors, often startling those nearby. These sudden noises echo through the hotel's hallways, adding to the sense of unseen activity lurking just beyond the edges of perception. Visitors have reported feeling cold drafts in rooms where no windows or vents are open, as if invisible hands brush past them or spirits move through the air. Flickering lights and unexplained electrical malfunctions also occur, seemingly without any mechanical cause. These phenomena contribute to the hotel's reputation as a place where the natural and supernatural intertwine. The Cliff House has also been the site of several untimely deaths, which many believe have contributed to its haunted nature. Over its long history, accidents, illnesses, and even fires claimed the lives of some who stayed or worked there. The intense emotions surrounding these events are thought to have left psychic imprints, causing echoes of the past to reverberate through the hotel. One particularly tragic incident involved a fire that engulfed part of the building, forcing guests and staff to evacuate hastily. The blaze claimed lives and destroyed significant portions of the hotel's structure. Since then, many have reported seeing shadowy figures near the areas affected by the fire or hearing faint cries and desperate calls that seem to replay those harrowing moments. Staff at the Cliff House have shared numerous accounts of paranormal activity. Housekeepers have found rooms disturbed, despite being locked and secured, with furniture shifted or personal items moved inexplicably. Nighttime workers often sense unseen presences, watching over them or feel sudden chills that travel down their spines. Guests who stay overnight frequently experience unexplained phenomena. Some report waking to the sound of footsteps pacing outside their rooms, even when no one is there. Others have felt the sensation of being gently touched or heard soft whispering voices just beyond hearing. These encounters, while sometimes unsettling, are often described with a mixture of awe and curiosity, as if the spirits are more watchers than threats. Paranormal investigators have taken a keen interest in the Cliff House, due to its extensive history and wealth of ghost stories. Equipped with thermal cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors, they have documented unexplained readings and phenomena that defy scientific explanation. Captured sounds include faint voices, knocking, and the eerie crackling of flames, while thermal images reveal cold spots and occasional shadowy shapes. These investigations have helped draw attention to the Cliff House's haunted reputation, attracting visitors eager to experience the paranormal firsthand. Ghost tours and special events are sometimes held, offering guests a chance to explore the hotel's most active areas under the guidance of expert storytellers and investigators. Despite the paranormal activity, the Cliff House continues to operate as a hotel and restaurant, welcoming travelers from around the world. Many guests are drawn not only by the stunning location and historic charm, but also by the allure of staying in a place where history and mystery blend seamlessly. The haunting of the Cliff House is a testament to the power of place and memory. It reminds us that buildings are more than bricks and mortar. They are vessels of human experience, capable of holding emotions, stories, and even spirits. The Victorian lady by the fireplace, the slamming doors, and the restless shadows are echoes of a time long past, yet they remain vividly alive in the present. Visitors who walk the halls of the Cliff House often find themselves stepping into a world where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur. The past does not simply linger. Here it reaches out, inviting all who enter to listen closely and witness the invisible stories etched into the fabric of this remarkable hotel. Nestled high in the Colorado Rockies, the charming mountain town of Georgetown is a picturesque escape from the modern world. Known for its well-preserved Victorian architecture, quaint streets, and stunning alpine scenery, Georgetown draws visitors eager to experience a slice of Old West history. But beneath its scenic beauty and historic charm lies a darker, more mysterious side, one marked by eerie stories and inexplicable phenomena that suggest the past refuses to rest quietly here. Two of Georgetown's most notorious haunted locations are its historic hotel and the Opera House, buildings that stand as testaments to the town's rich cultural and social life during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. These structures have become the epicenters of ghostly activity, where voices call out from the shadows, unseen hands tug at clothing, and shadowy figures flit behind stage curtains. The historic hotel in Georgetown is a grand relic from the town's mining boom days. Built to accommodate travelers and miners seeking comfort after long days in the mines. Over the decades, the hotel has seen joy, sorrow, celebrations, and tragedies. Guests and staff have long reported strange experiences that cannot be explained by logic or natural causes. One of the most common hauntings involves hearing voices calling out names, sometimes clearly, other times as distant whispers. These voices often echo through the hallways and empty rooms late at night, creating an unsettling atmosphere for anyone within earshot. The names called out are said to be those of former guests or townsfolk, their spirits seemingly reaching across time to be acknowledged. Many visitors describe the sensation of being touched or tugged by invisible hands. This paranormal interaction tends to be gentle but unmistakable clothing, brushed or sleeves, lightly pulled as if trying to gain attention or communicate. These unseen forces are often accompanied by sudden cold spots or a feeling of being watched, heightening the sense of presence. The hotel's ghostly activity is not confined to the hallways. Rooms that once held lively gatherings and quiet moments are now known for flickering lights and unexplained noises. Guests have reported furniture shifting slightly or personal items being moved without explanation. Some have even awakened to find the room's atmosphere charged with an unshakable feeling of unease. Just a short walk from the hotel stands Georgetown's historic Opera House, another site steeped in mystery and spectral presence. Built in the late 1800s, the Opera House was a cultural hub, hosting performances, dances, and community events. Its elegant stage and ornate decorations recall a time when the town thrived on entertainment and social gatherings. Yet, behind the grandeur of velvet curtains and polished wood lies a reputation for strange happenings. Shadows are often seen moving against the stage curtains, darting just beyond the reach of the spotlight. These dark shapes are fleeting but unmistakable, evoking the presence of unseen performers or restless spirits tied to the venue's theatrical past. Audible phenomena add to the Opera House's eerie ambience. Whispered conversations, faint music, and sudden, unexplained sounds have been reported by those brave enough to stay late or attend after-hours tours. Some have heard disembodied voices carrying through the empty auditorium, reciting lines or calling out to someone in the darkness. The Opera House is also known for its inexplicable temperature changes. Visitors have noted sudden drops in temperature, creating icy pockets of cold air that seem to settle near the stage or seating areas. These chills often precede other paranormal activity, such as flickering lights or the movement of objects. Local lore suggests that the spirits haunting both the hotel and the opera house are tied to Georgetown's turbulent history. The mining boom brought wealth and opportunity, but also hardship, accidents, and untimely deaths. Many believe that those who lived and died in this tight-knit community are still present, their souls lingering to protect, remember, or perhaps find peace. Stories of tragic love, untimely deaths, and lingering regrets circulate among locals and visitors alike, painting a picture of a town haunted not just by ghosts, but by the weight of its own past. The spectral phenomena in these buildings serve as reminders that history is not just recorded in books or photographs, it is alive in the energy of a place and the memories it holds. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to Georgetown's haunted sites, conducting research and experiments to capture evidence of the unexplained. Using thermal cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors, they have documented unusual readings and phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Recordings of faint voices, unexplained footsteps, and moving shadows have been captured, lending credibility to the many eyewitness accounts. These investigations have helped foster a growing interest in Georgetown's haunted history, making it a destination for ghost tours and paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors can explore the historic hotel and opera house with knowledgeable guides who share chilling stories and recount first-hand experiences. These tours blend historical facts with supernatural lore, offering a fascinating glimpse into the town's spectral side. Despite the eerie tales, Georgetown remains a vibrant community, proud of its heritage and the unique blend of history and mystery that defines it. The haunted stories add depth and intrigue to the town's identity, drawing visitors who seek both the beauty of the Rockies and the thrill of the unknown. Walking the streets of Georgetown, one can't help but feel a connection to the past weather and the soft whisper of a name carried on the wind, the fleeting tug of an unseen hand, or the shadowy glimpse behind a stage curtain. These sensations remind us that history is never truly silent and that the spirits of those who came before continue to walk among us, their stories waiting to be heard. In the end, Georgetown's haunted hotel and opera house stand as monuments to the town's enduring spirit, both living and spectral. They invite all who visit to step beyond the surface, to listen closely, and to experience the mysterious echoes of a bygone era that refuse to fade away. And so our journey ends, high in the cold, silent heart of the Rocky Mountains. From abandoned mining towns to opulent hotels, from shadowy forests to lonely cemeteries, these peaks are more than just stone and snow. They're a graveyard of stories. Some whisper softly, carried on the wind. Others scream in the night, desperate to be heard. If you ever find yourself wandering here after dark, remember, in the Rockies, the mountains aren't the only thing watching you.